Letter 117 to Mr. William Dalgleish, Minister of the Gospel. Mr. William Dalgleish was minister of the conjunct parishes of Anworth, Kirkdale and Kirkmabrec. He preached at Anworth only every alternate week, but so abundantly blessed were his labours to the people that when he surrendered quod sacra, the charge of Anworth, to Rutherford, upon its being formed into a distinct parochial charge, not only many of the humbler class of the parishioners, but the proprietors too, had embraced the doctrines of the gospel. Dalgleish strictly adhered to Presbyterian principles, and on that account was subjected to trouble. In 1635, he was deprived of his charge as minister of the United Parishes of Kirkdale and Kirkmabrec. In 1637, when episcopacy began to be the losing cause, he returned to his flock. His name appears on the roll of the members of the famous assembly which met at Glasgow in 1638, and in 1639 he was translated to Crummond as successor of Mr. William Colville, afterwards principal of the University of Edinburgh, to whom he appears to have been related, as the name of his wife was Elizabeth Colville. He was the intimate friend of the well-known Alexander Henderson, who by his later will ordained his executor to deliver to my dear acquaintance Mr. John Duncan at Culross and Mr. William Dalgleish, minister at Crummond, all my manuscripts and papers which are in my study and that belong to me anywhere else, and after they have received them, to destroy or preserve and keep them, as they shall judge convenient for their own private or the public good. In 1662, Dalgleish was ejected for nonconformity and died before the Revolution. Kirkmabrec was a pendicle of the Abbey of Dunrendon, which is 7 miles from Kirkcudbright. The farms and cottages that bear this name are about 2 miles from the shore, a little way up on the high ground, but the church and churchyard lie in a hollow between the Larg and the Caer Harrow hills. Part of the old ivy-covered walls and the gable of the church still remain. One modern tomb in the churchyard is marked by a granite pillar 20 feet high. It is the grave of Dr. Thomas Brown. The inscription on the west side reads thus: Thomas, M.D., Professor of Moral Philosophy in the University of Edinburgh, who died 2nd August 1820, aged 43 years. Janet, who died the 5th of August 1824, aged 51. The statistical account speaks of old mortality having renovated some of the gravestones, but all traces of his work have disappeared. In that old church, Samuel Rutherford preached his sermons on Zechariah chapter 13, verses 7 and 9, at a communion in 1630. In 1634, he preached on Luke chapter 14, verse 16, at the preparation before the communion, and on another occasion on Isaiah chapter 49, verses 1 to 4. The parish extends along the shore to the village of Creetown in one direction, and in the other to the old castle and farm at Carsluth. The old tower and ruined walls of this castle, built of granite from the neighbouring quarries, stand embosomed in trees on a spot commanding a fine view of the bay. Barholme Castle also is in this parish, and was the spot where John Knox was secreted previous to his escape to the continent. His signature was long shown on the wall of one of the rooms. The old towers, overgrown with ivy, peep out from the thick woods on the right of the wood from Kirkdale to Creetown. The modern mansion stands on a wooded eminence on the other side of Creetown. Not more than a mile from this old castle is the ruined church of Kirkdale, on the edge of a wood and considerably above the house. It resembles the churches of Kirkmabrec and Anworth in shape, having been long and narrow. The inscriptions on the old tombstones are so worn as to be illegible. The churchyard has been enclosed, and at the gate the eye is sure to rest on a small tablet on the side wall with these words: But go thou thy way, till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Daniel chapter 12, verse 13. Christ's kindness, dependence on providence, controversies. Reverend and dear brother, grace, mercy, and peace be to you. I am well. My Lord Jesus is kinder to me than ever he was. It pleaseth him to dine and sup with his afflicted prisoner. A king feasteth me, and his spikenard casteth a sweet smell. Put Christ's love to the trial, and put upon it our burdens, and then it will appear love indeed. We employ not his love, and therefore we know it not. I verily count the sufferings of my Lord more than this world's lusted and over-gilded glory. I dare not say but my Lord Jesus hath fully recompensed my sadness with his joys, my losses with his own presence. I find it a sweet and rich thing to exchange my sorrows with Christ's joys, my afflictions with that sweet peace I have with himself. Brother, this is his own truth I now suffer for. He hath sealed my sufferings with his own comforts, and I know that he will not put his seal upon blank paper. His seals are not damned nor delusive, to confirm imaginations and lies. Go on, my dear brother, in the strength of the Lord, not fearing man who is a worm, nor the Son of Man that shall die. Providence hath 1,000 keys to open 1,000 sundry doors for the deliverance of his own. When it is even come to a conclamatum est, let us be faithful and care for our own part, which is to do and suffer for him, and lay Christ's part on himself and leave it there. Duties are ours, events are the Lord's. When our faith goeth to meddle with events, and to hold a court, if I may so speak, upon God's providence, and beginneth to say, How wilt thou do this and that? We lose ground. We have nothing to do there. It is our part to let the Almighty exercise his own office, and steer his own helm. There is nothing left to us but to see how we may be approved of him, and how we may roll the weight of our weak souls in well-doing upon him who is God omnipotent. And when that we thus essay miscarrieth, it will be neither our sin nor cross. Brother, remember the Lord's word to Peter, Simon, lovest thou me? Feed my sheep. No greater testimony of our love to Christ can be than to feed carefully and faithfully his lambs. I am in no better neighborhood with the ministers here than before. They cannot endure that any speak of me or to me. Thus I am in the meantime silent, which is my greatest grief. Dr. Barron hath often disputed with me, especially about Arminian controversies and for the ceremonies. 3 yokings laid by him, and I have not been troubled with him since. Now he hath appointed a dispute before witnesses. I trust that Christ and truth will do for themselves. I hope, brother, that ye will help my people, and write to me what ye hear the bishop is to do with them. Grace be with you. Your brother in bonds, Samuel Rutherford, Aberdeen.